Hello and thank you for watching. In my last video, I detailed how the American Revolution was not just a war of independence, that there was something more profound that the patriots were fighting for, and that was their rights as freeborn Englishmen. In this video, we're going to start examining those rights, including, specifically in this video, their political rights. Now, when I go out and speak on this subject, I usually start off with one simple question. And that question is,
in which document was the right to bear arms first guaranteed in writing? Again, in which document was the right to bear arms first guaranteed in writing? Was it the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, or the Declaration of Rights? Now, most Americans, thinking of the Second Amendment, since that is synonymous with the right to bear arms, would be thinking of the Bill of Rights. But in truth, it is actually the Declaration of Rights in 1689 which guaranteed Englishmen the right to bear arms 100 years before the Second Amendment was placed within the Bill of Rights.
now if you're not familiar with this document, the Declaration of Rights of 1689, don't worry, most Americans aren't. And that is the amazing thing, because this document was the basis of both the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. As I detail in my book, Liberty Inherited, when you look at these documents side by side, it's amazing at how much influence it had on the founding documents here. In fact, some of the rights that we consider uniquely American, such as
the establishment of a representative government, Parliament in England, and of course Congress here in the United States, the right to petition the government with grievances and redress. It outlawed cruel and unusual punishment and established the principle of innocent until proven guilty, by saying that a person, an English person, could not have anything confiscated, fines laid against him until he was proven guilty by a jury of his peers. So it established a jury system. And finally, the big rallying cry, no taxation without representation. This was all in the Declaration of Rights of 1689. And even though we take these today to be uniquely American rights, they were in fact established over 100 years before the Constitution, almost 100 years before the Revolution itself in England. So they are really English rights, and they were the rights of Englishmen.
So we can clearly see that the American Revolution was not a war for independence. In fact, it wasn't even a revolution, it was a war of preservation. And what they were trying to preserve were the rights of Englishmen, because only those rights in the world preserved the human being and made the individual human superior and above that of the state. It actually limited what the government can do to an individual person. Nowhere else in that world, or very few places in the world, maybe a few Scandinavian countries, had a system like that. And most of them, as we had already discussed, the people were subservient to the state. Now, this is very important because this created a very stable political environment for people to thrive. And, a lot of people don't realize this, but England was the very first nation state in the world to be formed. And the monarchy is the longest established monarchy currently in the world. So whether you like the monarchy or not, or the English system or not, they've actually had a very good system that allowed them to avoid a lot of the turmoil that their continental neighbors, such as Germany, France, Spain, Russia, Italy, had to face over the last few hundred years. What's amazing to think about is that most of Central Europe, their democracies are only 50, 60, 70 years old, compared to England almost going back 400 years, or over 400 years. And of course, when that was brought over to the United States, we improved on it by not having a monarchy and having a fully elected Congress and a representative government. And again, that increased the stability here in the United States, creating 200 plus years of political stability where people come in and out of power. Now, it was not just the United States and Britain that this had benefited. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all these Anglo-valued countries have seen prosperity and stability within their histories, and not the revolutions and not the turmoil and the chaos that have afflicted so many of the other countries. This is why the logo of the Liberty Inherited has all the flags kind of mixed up into one, because it represents the Anglo values. And these will be on sale. This bumper sticker will be on sale soon on the website, libertyinherited.com. But again, these are the values, these are the rights, these English rights that the Patriots were fighting for. It was these rights that they were establishing in the Constitution, in the Declaration of Independence, and in the Bill of Rights. And it is these values that today we are the benefactors of. So it is very important to recognize where they came from, because it's a very fragile item. And if it's not taken care of and not guarded, they may disappear forever, because again, they are an anomaly in the world. Mankind, the basic, we need to remember, 400 years of liberty in England, you know, it sounds like a long time, but when you look over the span of mankind, it's just a blink of the eye. And you know, we see how the normal situation, the normal lot in life for the average man in just about every other place in the world was servitude and slavery. So these rights need to be preserved. We need to understand where they came from, and that is why I wrote my book, Liberty Inherited, The Untold History of America's Exceptionalism. And I highly encourage you to read it, because I wrote it to be very informative and to help you get a better understanding of our rights and where they came from, why they have worked so well for us and made this such a great and exceptional country, and what might happen to them if they cannot be, or to us, if they cannot be preserved, especially for our children. Now, in my next video, I will be discussing economic rights of the Englishmen and the system they established that not only made individuals very prosperous, but made the society as a whole very prosperous. And I will kind of take on some of the criticism from the socialists, the Marxists, and the anti-capitalist people. So I hope you turn in that video, and thank you for watching.